Hi, welcome to Kiwanis Talk. We're a public information program put together by people from the Dearborn Kiwanis Club with helps from some of the students and faculty at Dearborn High, my alma mater. My name is Gary Gardner. Welcome to the program, which is an annual thing that we've been doing here for a number of years, talking about the film program, the video program, I should say. I go back to the program when it was filmed here at Dearborn High, right after the Earth's crust finished cooling, about 1969 to 71. They've advanced a lot since then, and now they do film, they do state-of-the-art, they've got digital, they've got things I can't even imagine or believe happening. And to talk about the film program, the upcoming film festival, or the premiere of their films, we have two of the students from Dearborn High. We have Jake West, who is a director of one of the programs called the Serial Tip. And we also have Mei-Ling Marzoni, who is a station manager. We'll talk about that. And the writer-director of The High Road, a student Emmy nominee. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You know, things have changed a lot since I was here. Obviously, we used to get film, we would send it out, get it developed, and get little strips of film and edit it physically together. Has it changed since then, Mei-Ling?
Definitely, yes.
How so?
Nowadays we film it and we upload it onto the computers and we just edit it out on softwares and stuff like that.
Don't have to wait for 3 days for it to come back from Photomat?
No.
No. How about you, Jake? What is that same for you? You do the writing, directing, filming. What part of it do you do?
I wrote and directed the serial trip,
Okay.
and I also came up with the idea of it.
So, this film program, it's pretty well renowned. In fact,
Yes.
we can't go further without talking about Russ Gibb, who took over after my teacher, Richard Corriveau, who was here from 69 till about 73. Russ Gibb came in and made this one of the most outstanding programs in the state, probably the country, if not the world. He just passed away recently. I want to say, Russ, you did a great job putting this together. Kurt Doley is the successor, and now, who's your new guy who's here?
Mr. Rauscher.
Mr. Rauscher. He's doing okay?
Yep, he's great.
What, Mei-Ling, was it that made you want to get into the film program in the first place?
Well, originally I was an editor. There were a lot of school assignments to which I could make any videos, anything I wanted to do, and just the concept of putting a message onto the screen and sharing it to the masses, storytelling. And I just fell in love with the process of making that, and then I decided to join WDHS as well, and meeting a lot of people, creating bonds, and I just really fell in love with that.
And you worked your way up to station manager. What responsibilities or drudge do you have with that?
Oh, well, it's a big task. It's a lot of leadership involved. You know, I meet a lot of people. I always check in on their projects, and I make sure that they know what they're doing. And I come up with fundraisers and stuff for the program to prosper and grow.
Jake, what was it that got you into the program? Why are you sitting here today? What brought you here?
I believe that I came into the program because of my brother's reputation and his sort of like a legacy that he left at the program. And I felt like I wanted to fill his shoes because I wanted him to be proud of me.
Are you doing him proud?
Yep, doing him very proud.
So you wrote the show called the Tip, Serial Tip.
Yes, the serial.
What's it about, real quick?
The serial trip it goes something like this. A group of rambunctious serial killers decide to take a break from their everyday lives to go on a fun camping trip. The only problem being those pesky teenagers.
They get involved in stuff. And we have a clip for that?
We do.
Okay, and this gives you a little bit of idea of what it's all about on the serial trip?
That's right.
Okay, let's take a look at it
All right.
right now.
Tell me, what does it look like in hell? Is it peaceful? Is it free like they say? Does the sun shine bright forever? Have your fears and your pain gone away? 'Cause here on earth it feels like everything good is missing since you left.
that looks a little bit scary, Jake.
It does.
You know, and I'm sure that as it gets into it, did you use ketchup or stuff later on?
We used a lot of fake blood.
A lot of fake blood.
Yep.
Okay, and so, I mean, what possessed you to think of that kind of a show?
It's very odd. It's just something that came into my head one day when we were writing log lines for our upcoming movies, and it just so happened to be my fifth one out of 12.
So, the whole process, you just don't go out and decide to shoot a movie today and then shoot it tomorrow. Talk to me, Ling, about the creative process and how it's structured here in the program at Dearborn High.
Well, they say that a movie is written 3 times, in pre-production, production, and post. So in pre-production, that's when you create the story, you find locations, get the characters, the cast, and then in production, you go out and you actually get to film it, and then in post, that's when you have to edit together and get the final project.
And there's a creative process that you go through. You have writers, you have film people that are experts with the cameras, the sound people, the lighting people, and it has to coordinate that whole thing.
Yes.
And how much of the coordination is easy? How much of it do you learn on the fly?
Well, it is, we're dealing with high schoolers, so it is some challenging at some points, but you have your producer, you have your director, and they're really on it, scheduling and with the rehearsals and locations as well.
So you've got the program called The High Road. Talk about this. What's the background for The High Road?
So essentially, it's set around 3 best friends entering high school for the very first time. And before that, during the summertime, they go on these late-night shenanigans where they finally get to do their last teenage rebellion. And then as they enter high school, it's very apparent that they're splitting off in different directions. 2 of the friends get into falling out, and then one of them goes MIA. And then years later, 2 of the friends find the whereabouts of their lost friend, and they go on the road in search of their friend.
You've got a clip for that one too?
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a look at it. Again, we'll take a look at the clip for The High Road.
So it's the last week of summer, and we've managed to complete all of our goals, except for these last 3.
Vince, these are all illegal. I'm done, Vince. I'm tired of all the stupid crap you put us through. And frankly, I don't want to be part of it anymore.
Hector, we're at that age where we're allowed to be young and reckless. Why do we have to wait for things to get better?
This specimen right here is the key to happiness. You have the best sleep of your life, I guarantee it.
Now is the time to not care.
You know what they say, you're only young once.
Okay, well, that's interesting, and you've got a bunch of different scenes there. How many different locations did you have to use to put that together, Millie?
Oh, there were a lot. From diners to farms, I'd say about like 8 to 10.
And that's all put together, and did you plan that all out ahead of time, or did you just decide to drive along and say, here's a good spot?
No, I wish. Yes, no, we plan weeks in advance, at least 2 weeks in advance. We call ahead, and when we show up afterwards. Yep.
You get permission ahead of time?
Yes, we do.
When I did it, I always had the rule, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than for permission. And that didn't always work out. These films, videos are going to be shown at a major deal. Talk about what's coming up with that, Jake, and when is it?
Yes, it is going to be shown at the Michael A. Guido Theater. That's at the Ford Performing Arts Center on May 22nd and 23rd.
This is the Michael A. Guido Theater. The center is at the corner of Michigan Avenue and Greenfield in Dearborn. People from 42 cities watch this program.
Yes.
And they've got some outstanding student Emmy-nominated programs that are
Yes.
going to be out there. And how long is the program going to be? What can we expect? How many different films are we going to get to see that night?
I believe 7 films.
Okay.
so far. It might be 1 to 2 hours.
And it's all good and all, well, high-quality stuff people should enjoy.
Indeed. We wouldn't put it out there if it wasn't.
And what time is it start?
Doors open at 6 o'clock p.m.
Okay. So, is this what you've been aiming for, Mei-Ling? This is the whole, crescendo of the year and that for this film festival or the premiere?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And when did you start working on it? Give us a timeline. We're sitting here filming at the end of the school year.
Mm-hmm.
When did these films originally start to germinate?
I'd say around October.
Okay. So you've been doing this for living with this for 6-7 months.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Does it take more time or less time than you could ever have imagined before you got into the film business?
It took a lot more time. Yes.
And does it consume all your time and energies and things like that? How about your other classes? What's going on with those?
Film takes up a lot outside and, inside school. I am also involved with like jazz band and tennis and all these other extracurriculars. But, I make it work.
Make it work.
Mm-hmm.
Jake, after you guys are both seniors, we talked about that before. What's your plan after you leave Dearborn High coming up?
After I leave Dearborn High, I am planning on entering into U of M Dearborn and going in for computer sciences.
Okay.
Yep.
You're gonna leave the film behind, or you're gonna keep that in the back of the?
I might still keep doing film, more like projects on YouTube or something of that nature.
Okay.
Hmm?
Mei-Ling, what's your plan
I will be attending Wayne State, majoring in film.
in film? And what part? Film is a big area. What part of film do you after you've had this experience here? What part do you want to get into?
Mostly the production side of things.
Okay.
I also want to go into, the story as well.
Okay. If you were talking to a student or a parent of a student who was thinking about coming into the film program at Dearborn High, what can you say about it? Good and anything any negative, if there are any? I don't think there are. Jake, what's the best part about the film program, and what would you say to encourage someone to think about taking this kind of a course?
I believe that the best part of the film program is that you get to really experience the real-life world of cinema and actually create something from your own mind. And seeing that unfold before you is really a treat to see. As it takes a lot to create something great, as both me and Mei-Ling have been proven to show. And we believe that if you're a very creative person or you love film, that this is definitely the class for you.
What other words, what caveats would you give to
Ah.
people who are coming into this, Mei-Ling?
Well, adding on to Jake, you meet a lot of people and you learn a lot of real life experiences that you wouldn't generally learn in an actual classroom. Math and sciences. You meet a lot of people and you learn about the process, and you have all this hard work and countless hours, but then it's all really worth it in the end on the big screen of making this art.
You said something before at the very beginning, as you get to manage people.
Mm-hmm.
How about managing yourselves and your own times? How does that work out? What have you learned about budgeting your time and your efforts towards all the rest of the things you have to do?
Well, I have to really juggle my schoolwork, family life, social life, and it really forces you to prioritize the things that you love.
I believe that the film program is definitely a good choice for creative students and students that really want to experience film. And I believe that if you have a lot of determination and a good working structure, that this is definitely the class for you.
Okay, so what we're going to do now, we have two of the students. We have another student who's going to come in for the second half of the program. Get out and see these films. They're great. Again, real quick, what's the date and where?
May 22nd and 23rd at the Michael A. Guido Theater.
Okay, see you there. Don't go away. We'll be back in a minute with another student from this program.
There's never been a better time in our history to be a member of Kiwanis. The impact that we can make is at an all-time high, but we need more members so that we can reach our potential. You can help and lead by example. Invite your family, friends, and coworkers to your club meetings and service projects. Tell them about our service leadership programs. Ask them if they want to improve the community. How can anyone say no? We need to step it up and focus on what needs to be done with our membership because kids need Kiwanis today.
Welcome back to Kiwanis Talk. I'm Gary Gardner, your host, where we continue with our discussion with students from the film program, or the video program. I guess old habits die hard. We have with us Abbas Karnab, who is the feature film person, editor, filmographer,
Yes.
Jack of all trades, and probably master of some, it sounds like, from what we talked about before he came out.
At least some, yeah.
So, what is your role in the productions here at WDHS and the Dearborn Film Program?
In every production that I've worked in, I've usually been the director of photography. So I'm behind the camera all the time. I'm filming everything. And then in the studio, at least, I am also the equipment manager. So kind of make sure all our equipment is in good shape. It's all working. Nothing's broken.
Accounted for.
Accounted for, definitely.
That's the important part of it.
Yeah.
So how did you wind up, about getting into the video program here at Dearborn High?
Well, with this program, I ended up getting into it because of one of the other students that are in this class, Jaden Burks. He had invited me over to a shoot for, at the time it was with Kurt Doley. And Mr. Doley said that I was doing a good job in it. And he invited me to the class, and I said, sure, of course I'll join. And here I am this year.
And what grade are you in now?
I'm an 11th grader.
And are you going to come back next year?
Yes, of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good thing. So, you as the camera person, I'll say for that, that's what people imagine filmmaking is. What is it that you find about the facilities and the equipment that they have here at the Dearborn Film Program?
Well, you'd expect for like a high school program not to have a very good equipment or anything like that, but all our equipment is really solid. I mean, it produces high quality images, high quality video, and with the arrangement of lenses that we have, the assortment of lenses that we have, it all comes together and produces something very, very nice.
Now, as the filmographer, how do you work with the director? Do you have ideas that are better, worse, the same as the directors or the editor or producer? How do you say, listen, this isn't going to work, or this is going to work better?
Well, I don't like to say that my ideas are better than a director, but sometimes I will kind of nudge them in a different direction, as in like this would work better for the final product. And if there's maybe an easier way or a less complicated way to do something, then I give that idea as well. Because sometimes the director's kind of ambitious in the types of shots they want, but it's not something that we can actually accomplish. So I kind of bring them back to a more reasonable level.
So the input part of it is the camera and the lenses, but the real meat and potatoes is the editing part. Talk about the editing equipment that you have here.
Well, the editing equipment, just like the cameras and the lenses, it's all top-notch. You know, we're using Adobe products, Premiere Pro, After Effects, and all these tools are used actually in the professional industry as well later on, so it kind of gets us prepared for that from now. You kind of learn your way around how to control things, how to edit, how to cut and paste, and
The whole thing. Was there a learning curve on the software?
Definitely a learning curve, yeah, because the software is kind of complicated, but over time you learn where things are, and Google's your best friend when you're editing.
Google's your best friend. When I used to work in the business, I was worked for and the people would say, listen, go play with the switcher,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and see what it can do. And that's part of what you have to do. Play with it, see what this button does, and if the studio doesn't go black, you know you're all set.
Yeah.
You've were involved with, we've got two clips we're going to show here.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is called Electric Oddity. What's that about, Abbas?
This is about a relationship between two young teenagers. It's about them kind of going through their relationship, trying to figure out where it went wrong. It shows the happy moments of the relationship and the very sad moments of the relationship and how it kind of falls apart. Yeah.
Well, let's take a look at Electric Oddity and see what we can see from this one. Let's take a look.
Are you 100% sure about this?
Why wouldn't I be?
Because it's kind of crazy.
Don't be ridiculous. It's perfectly normal for kids to go to parties.
I'm not stupid, Jess. I know she's gonna be there.
I'm gonna beat you up someday. Who can hit this face? Me? Stop! Wait, I'm sorry. June! Jesse!
There's color. A lot of color in that, Abbas.
Yeah.
Where did that idea come from for all that just visual sort of look?
Well, the director, Tristan Nunez, he really wanted some very intense videography, so I told him he had already planned out from the beginning he wanted neon colors. Now, we couldn't get the neon perfect, but we tried to match it as close as possible. We used a lot of reds, a lot of blues. Those are for really the intense situations that they're put into. But yeah, I think it worked out in the end.
Does it have a happy ending?
You
I have to come and see. You got to come and see. That's right. Okay. The other film that you worked on was called Epiphany.
Epiphany, yep.
What's that about?
It's also about a relationship between two teenagers. The girlfriend in the situation, she wants to become an actor and she has a real passion for it, but she doesn't have a very supportive boyfriend. So it's kind of a back and forth between them two of should she do what she really wants or should she just listen to what her boyfriend has to say.
And talk about the writing part of that. You know, the writers obviously put a lot of their heart and soul and sometimes their own personal experiences in it, but did the writers do everything you think they needed to do for that particular show?
I think they hit everything they should. They really captured the emotion of teenagers in relationships. They captured kind of the thought process that goes behind it of, do I really need to, what am I willing to sacrifice for what I want to do? Yeah.
Okay, well, let's take a look at Epiphany. Let's take a look.
I want to go in for auditions.
I mean, I guess you're right. I won't get my hopes up too high.
You're still thinking about those auditions, aren't you?
It wouldn't hurt just to try out.
I just don't get why you're so pressed on me. I still don't get why you're putting this before me.
Love you.
Well, Abbas, that looks like it's kind of intense.
Yeah.
You know, but I get the feeling it's like I told my daughter, I have 3 daughters.
Mm-hmm.
I says, remember, a woman needs a man, like a fish needs a bicycle. And I get the idea that that's kind of where that's going to go just from the little clip that we saw there.
Yeah, it's kind of it, yeah.
Now, there is a film festival or a video, talk about the thing coming up where all these videos that we've seen today and more are going to be shown. Talk about that coming up.
Well, we have an upcoming premiere coming on May 22nd and 23rd at the Michael A. Guido Center, the theater. And there will be showing 7 movies. And the cost of admission is $7 in advance, $10 at the door.
And the Michael Guido Theater is actually a world-class theater. There's not just for film, but for music and performances. And it's located, for those of the viewers who are not familiar with Dearborn, Michigan Avenue and Greenfield. Mm-hmm. It's a great facility, and for $10, if you wait till you get there at the door, it's a good, entertaining program.
Yeah.
Again, I asked the other students, what did they get out of being part of the video program at Dearborn High? What's happened to Abbas since he got brought in by Mr. Doley?
Well, for me, it kind of really opened up my eyes to something I'm very passionate about. I mean, I had been very interested in film since I was about 10, but I just never really got the guts to actually go out and do something. But since I've entered the program, I don't want to leave. You know, I'm here a lot of the time. I'm always working on something.
And what about what you've learned with working with other parts of the crew and the whole hierarchy of the temperamental actors and actresses and then all the other people? What have you learned about that?
Well, mainly what I've learned is that you need to work as a team. Everything has to be coordinated. Now, of course, not everything's going to go right. We've had times during Epiphany where we knew it was cold, but no one was prepared for it. But everything at the end kind of worked out because there was a coffee shop nearby. They just let us in and let us shoot there. But yeah, it really taught me that you kind of have to listen to what other people have to say. You can't come up with all the ideas. Not everyone's idea is bad. Kind of take into account of what everyone else has to say.
So you've been involved in this program for this year. You're going to be involved next year.
Mm-hmm.
What about after that? Where's Abbas Karneb going to be going after that?
I'm not sure what college I'm going to, but I am sure that I'm going into film production.
It's okay not to know exactly because I'll tell you a secret. I'm not sure what I want to be when I grow up yet. So, but that whole goal of moving forward in the business, it's kind of, and if you again could commend this program to a freshman or a sophomore student, what would you say about it?
Well, there's a lot of good things. This program, mainly what it is it lets you kind of have your creative space. It kind of opens up your abilities for what you can create and what you want to accomplish. And honestly, at this point, through the semesters, you kind of become a sort of small family working with other students. Because it's not a conventional classroom where you're sitting all in neat little rows, raising your hands up when you want to talk. You're very active.
And that's an important thing. Dearborn High is a pretty big school.
Yeah.
And to get involved in a class where you feel you are part of a smaller niche but very passionate niche is a good thing. Well, good luck with the film program. Good luck with next year with whatever and wherever you go. Michigan State's not a bad place to go for the film program either. But good luck with the May 22nd and 23rd.
Yep.
At the Michael A. Guido Performing Arts Theater, Michigan Avenue and Greenfield. $7 in advance, $10 at the door. Be there. I'm Gary Gardner. We'll see you again next time on Kiwanis Talk. Bye-bye.